Morning guys, gals, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be performing a full service on the Kubota M7040. Model year is 2012. So I hope you guys find this video informational. Let's get to it. So first thing we're going to be doing on the Kubota M7040 is we're going to be changing the oil in the crankcase. In preparation of that, I basically let the tractor sit and warm up for about 15 to 20 minutes this morning. So all the oil is good, it's not thick anymore, and once we pull the plug on the bottom, everything should flow nice and freely. Before any type of service is performed on any vehicle that you're doing, the number one key component to make everything successful and not go awry is to take the keys out of the ignition. That prevents anybody in any circumstances for ever starting this vehicle. God forbid you need to leave while you're performing the service and the oil's drained or anything like that, and they think it's okay to jump in it and start it up, not knowing what's going on. So the first thing I like to do is I like to make sure that the keys are pulled from the vehicle and set aside. So we're going to just pull the key out to prevent any major catastrophe. So to pop the hood on the M7040, it's super simple. Basically, this front grill right here has got a pull pin. You pull that, drop the grill, and there's a nice little lever right here at the bottom of the hood. Draw the hood up, and everything will be exposed that we need to get to, minus the plug, which is under the bottom on the crankcase. So what I like to do is I like to pull the dipstick on the crank right here. Kind of just set it right off to the side for now. So for this, we're going to need a drain pan, 7/8. That'll take the two plugs off on the bottom of this oil pan. This oil pan is concaved. The drive shaft runs through the middle of this oil pan, so you need to drain it in both spots. And for your ease and my ease, I already reefed on them to get them started. So you guys didn't have to sit here and watch me struggle get these drain bolts off. Super simple. Just twisty-rooski it out. And see how bad I can get it all over me. There's one. And there's the other one. And man, oh man, I hope this drain pan's big enough. We'll let these drippy dry. We'll head back up top and proceed to pull the oil filter. Okay, so located over here on the passenger side of the tractor is the oil filter. This is a fuel filter element. And basically what I like to do, being that it's so close to the filter here, the oil filter that is, I like to take this apart, and it's easier to get my oil wrench in there. And probably should have slid my oil pan over a little bit, which I will do right now. Drainer makes good for burning fuel, I guess. We'll set this off to the side because in this video we will be replacing that also. Alright, give her a nice little turn just like that. Alright, get that out of there. Slide the oil pan over just a little bit. Oh, catch pan that is. A little bit. See if we can catch some of this crud that's going to come out. Well, so far, so good. We're draining. And we'll let that actually drippy dry drain before taking it off. And then we'll replace the filter on it, and I'll give you guys the Napa number that I use on this. So while you're waiting for the engine oil to finish draining, I find it a good time to go around and complete some of the smaller tasks in the service. One being checking the air filter. There is an inner and an outer air filter in this compartment. The condition of it, I do have both on hand if needed, so we'll pull this apart, check the condition of it, and if it needs to be replaced, we'll do that. If it can be blown out, we'll blow it out. Super simple. 3 little safety clips. Horrible. Actually, not bad at all, really. So what you're looking at here is the outer air filter on this machine. And you can see there's a little bit of the dust collection down here at the bottom. But as for the rest of the fins, they're pretty clean. They're not packed full of dirt yet. So I think what we'll do is we'll hook up the blow-on to the compressor and just blow this out. And maybe we'll have to change it in the fall. Alright, so weapon of choice to blow this out. I got this handy dandy radiator blower wand thing. And it works good for getting inside the filters. So we'll get this going out. So after that's done, obviously we can replace it. There is an inner air filter in this that goes locked down in here. We're using all Napa filters on this machine, so I'm going to give you parts numbers. Reason being I use Napa filters, it's local. I'm supporting my local business. And number 2 is they run a sale in the spring and filters are dirt cheap. So I buy filter kits for everything that we own. Multiple tractors, the skid steers, the excavators, pickup trucks. So we have at least one set on hand at all times. So the Napa part number for the inner filter, if you guys need it, is 6672, and these are Napa Gold filters. And the outer air filter is 6671, and that is also a Napa Gold. So we'll just reinstall. Make sure it's got a nice little seat. Grab the outer container and put her back on. And there is a set of grooves on this that do line up. So you got to have it a certain way. She's locked and secured for the 2025 hay rototilling season. Okay, we don't need this anymore. The oil filter that we're going to be using on this today is Napa Gold. Yes, Napa Gold 7430. So we got the new oil filter 7430. I'm going to reach down in here in this drain pan, moisten my fingers, and give this gasket rubber seal a little bit of lubrication. Once we do that, we can reach in there, straddle the wires that Kubota decided to put in the way, and hopefully twist it back on without cross-threading anything. Just like that. Give her a good old spin. Hand tight. Grab the filter wrench. Slide it on there. Give her a couple nice turns until she's lightly snug. I think we'll call that good. Okay. That is installed. And this is a pain. They really do. They put wires where they should not be. Oh. Struggle bus. We're struggling. Yep, I'm struggling. Oh boy. There, we got it. I'm okay. So now that we have the oil filter replaced, let's crawl underneath here and let's put these bolts back up into the engine oil pan. And crank them down tight, but not too tight. Oh shit. And don't drop your wrench into the used oil. Oh man. Oh, crap. is what happens when you drop it down in the oil. So today's job went from being not so messy to being really messy. Well lubricated wrench. So upon review, I found out that this engine, if it is the 11-liter engine, will take 11.5 quarts of 1540. I use Rotella T4 in almost all my equipment, minus one or two that I use a full synthetic blend. So that's what we're going to be using in this, and in the 8-liter engine it's 8.5 quarts, according to what the internet's showing me. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 8 quarts. We're going to check everything because I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure that this is the 11-liter, but I could be wrong. So we'll figure it out, trial and error. So a handy little trick here, being that the engine fill is way down there hidden back behind everything, it's actually pretty easy to get yourself one of these little slinky funnels, feed it down in there, and then this little grill guard here that protects, looks like maybe some coolant hoses and a fan and stuff like that. You just kind of wedge it right in there. That'll hold it upright for you so you can get your fluids poured into the crankcase. Who turned you on? Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to replace both fuel filters on this. Actually, one is a filter and one is just an element that goes into a strainer bowl. So the element number on that is also a Napa Gold filter. It is 60039. And then the main fuel filter on that is also a Napa Gold, which is a 3393. So super simple. Your filters are both located right here. This is your main filter, and right here is where we already took that off so we could get easier access to the oil filter. And that's just a screen that goes inside of a plastic bowl. We'll just remove that, which I already, for ease of you guys watching me struggle, I already pre-started it. Spin her off. Drain her into your catch pan. And then, for sake of you guys watching me struggle, I'm going to pre-fill the filter with diesel fuel, and just makes it easier, because if not, right on top of here, above where the filter goes, is a little push button, and you can pre-fill the filter that way, but I prefer to get this as full as possible so there's a lot less pumping going on. Okay, so we got both of the fuel filters replaced. Like I said again, the main fuel filter is 3393, and the other one is 6 blah 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 blah. You're gonna have to rewind the video if you need the number again. And I turn the fuel back on right here, and like I said, up above the fuel filter is a little primer button, and I just prime the system. And basically what you'll do is you'll push on this primer until the button gets tight and you can't push anymore. That means that your fuel system is properly full and ready to start again. So we'll get the key. We got the oil filled in this. They come to be that this engine goes for the 11.5 quarts. So we're going to get everything started, make sure everything's running good. Contact. So we'll let her run here for a couple minutes. We'll let her do her thing, let it even out nice, you know. It always seems like when you change fuel filters, even though you have everything topped off, it'll choke for a couple seconds, but she's running pretty strong right now. And after we get her shut down, we're going to hop over to the oil check, and we're just going to check the oil one more time to make sure that everything's where it needs to be. So another good thing to do when you're completing the seasonal service on the tractor would be to pull these two screens right here. They're just kind of a pre-screen that go in front of both of these coolers. Pull those, any debris or anything behind them. And actually it's more of a, if you're using it heavily, it's a good thing to do every week, especially if you're doing hay with the tractor, because you will get hay and small chaff and stuff lodged in this. So just pull these screens out, and then use that, you know, use whatever you got. I like that long radiator blow-on right here, and just just shove that in there and just kind of blow out all the dust and debris that you can, and that's another good thing to do during your seasonal service. Alright, so if you were to change the hydraulic filters on this tractor, which we are not going to be doing this year, due to the fact that on my equipment, with the hours that I put on everything during the years, I usually change the hydraulic filters every 2 years. So if you need a location, they're under the passenger door right behind the rear tire. There's 2 of them. They are Napa Gold filters. They are 7098. Both of them are 7098. So back here, if you look, this is where your hydraulic fill is going to be, right here. I don't know if you can see that. I did pull the cap off thinking that I was going to be changing these, and then I remembered that I did these last year already. The reason I pulled the hydraulic cap off is because you need to create negative pressure on this system. If you don't, when you pull the filters, the fluid's going to free flow and you're going to have a mess. So if you rig a shop vac up over top of this hole and turn it on, that'll create a negative pressure inside of that tank, and you should be able to pull those filters off without creating too much of a mess. Okay, so being that we're not going to be changing the hydraulic filters on this, like I said again, they're located right down there. You can see the 2 white filters. And like I said, once you pull those, you got to have some type of negative creation going inside of that tank. So I use a shop vac, and I just kind of turn that on as I put it over the pour hole, and it doesn't really make much of a mess. So the last but not least, which you should be doing more than just seasonal, is greasing all the pivot points on this machine. And on the loader bucket, we have multiple. We have one there at that pivot. We have one up top there at that pivot. One underneath there at that. Right there. You have 3 right there. One right there. And then you got one down on the bottom of your quick connect. And then underneath by the axle, you got up top there. And I'll show you quick. There's a carrier bearing right there, and there's another one on the opposite side of the axle that takes grease. So basically it's mirrored image on the opposite side of the tractor for the loader. And then we'll walk around to the back on the 3-point hitch. And you got one right there. You got one right there. Right there. Right there. I think I said there. And then on each side of that PTO case, there's a grease fitting there. So that should be it for the grease fittings on the tractor. So if your Kubota has a enclosed cab, there is a cabin air filter located on the upper part of the roof right up here. Napa gold number is 550075, and it's super simple. Like I said, it's on the driver's side up under the back window, and there's 4 little twisty screws. Pop the old one out, pop the new one in, and due to the amount of hay and stuff and the dust that we deal with, I usually replace this once a year, so we're just going to pull it out and swap it out. Get the bee's nest out of there. Yeah, she needs it. Now that I'm looking at this, I think I have it backwards. She goes in there a little snug. Alright guys, gals, well that pretty much sums up the seasonal service on the Kubota M7040. I apologize that we didn't go through and do the hydraulic filters, but like I said, I run my hydraulic filters and switch them every 2 years. All the other filters that have anything to do with the engine, I do yearly. And grease should be at least every 10 hours, just a couple pumps in the Zerks. And it's a cheap insurance. So, but like I said again, with the hydraulic filters, you need to make sure, I don't know if all tractors are this way, but this Kubota particularly, if you take those two filters off, which are again 7098 is a Napa Gold number for them. If you take those filters off, the fluid will just keep coming. So by creating that negative pressure in the back end with the shop vac in the tank, somehow, I don't know, I'm not a scientist by any means, so it just keeps your fluid from falling out when you're changing the filters. And because I've learned the hard way multiple times until I Googled it and watched a couple YouTube videos to see what other people do. So I hope this video was informative. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I know I enjoyed doing it. Like I said, I look forward to every year doing the seasonal service on this equipment. It just gives you a better nature of the piece of equipment that you're running. It gives you a better respect of things. And in the long run, you save yourself money. You know, I'm not trying to cut no dealers out because everybody needs to feed their family, but so do you. And if you can save a buck, two or here or there by performing your own service intervals, it's a lifesaver. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you later.